of the waves, like a wild goose flying, with its only mate, an all-enduring spirit on the whiskey trail.
Oh, it's always good to tidy up the old sauna. A new year. Oh, there he is. It's Gordon Dundas. Gordon, I'm just tidying up for the new year, new episode.
Absolutely. New series. Now, I think we have to start this off by doing a little bit of an apology.
Yes.
You had massive plans for a Christmas special. There was going to be Whiskey Unscripted +1. I mean, there was a lot of things that you had planned for the Christmas special, which we failed through many reasons to actually record.
I actually hired out the same cabin that Wham did their recording of Last Christmas in.
Yes.
I had the extras. We're going to throw snowballs at each other and have some glühwein and talk whiskey. It would have been an absolute belter of a Christmas episode. But you were away.
Here we are in the new year, and we're coming at you with a sort of half Christmas episode.
Because I did actually, coming up, my last trip of the year was in Baden, for the Zurich Whisky Festival, and it was like the Wham Last Christmas video. When we got there on the second day, it was just a delightful white Christmas, and I interviewed quite a few people on the stands there. A wee flavour of how their year had been and what they're looking forward to. So that's coming up later on.
Brilliant. And so yes, we do want to just say we're starting a new series. We will be continuing on Whiskey Unscripted. Our challenge is just our jobs are quite hectic and busy, and we have to fit it around other things, unfortunately. But we are in 2024. How was your Christmas and New Year, Gordon?
It was very good, Gordon. It was once everything calmed down, especially that last week before we went back to work. This week it was quite nice. That was just that first few days of the new year was great. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. A nice few drams. And
any dram that stands out over the period?
Oh, I always like having a dram at the Bells, as we call it. And I think it was a Tamdhu 18 I had this year.
Tamdhu 18. Well, I had a great Christmas. So I was in Korea.
Yes.
In the run up to Christmas.
It feels like about the 90s. What happened?
Amazing. I mean, an amazing whiskey market, young demographic of people, brilliant. We did a tour for Glengoyne, which was just so well received, and really good work in the market, and hitting some bars and talking to key people who the knowledge out in that market's unbelievable. But there's not a lot of interviews because, well, for obvious reasons, there's not a lot of people that spoke a lot of English, so I didn't get a huge amount of interviews. But as a market, it was amazing. So I got back pre-Christmas, had a very quiet Christmas, and then was away at New Year with the wooden planks on, skiing down a hill, which was good fun. And then was back back to work, which was a little bit of a shock to the system, but it's all good to go. So yeah, it's and we've got a heck of a year ahead of us. We have a heck of a year ahead of us.
Well, that was just again. There's no news. We've decided.
There's no news because over Christmas there's actually not a lot of whiskey news.
No.
And we've decided that we haven't actually, as you know, it's Whiskey Unscripted. Possibly haven't looked enough at the news to bring you any news, but we will, of course, do a full debrief of news in episode 2 of this new season.
The new season, Gordon, looking forward to the new season, and just I had a look at some of the events happening this year. It's you didn't think it could get any busier, but as an ambassador out there, it's I think Canada is next week.
Yeah, we've got Michael Brown going out to Canada to the west coast of Canada. He'll be in Calgary, and he'll be in Edmonton, and he'll be in Victoria for the Victoria Whisky Festival, which I have been to. What a whisky festival that is. And Michael, who's our fellow ambassador, will be covering off all of our brands over there. And I believe it's quite cold, so he's off to buy a jacket today, I think.
Some thermals. And local whiskies, Gordon, your knowledge there? What's the local whiskey scene?
Talk about dropping one in my... There is a couple of distilleries, I think, on Vancouver Island. There are some pretty active distilleries up in that part of the world. You've got I can't remember their names, but there's a distillery on Vancouver Island up north, and there's a couple of other distilleries there, and you've got Alberta Distillers, of course, which is not too far away. So great whiskies out there, but there's a huge swell of Glengoyne and Tamdhu fans out in Alberta, and in British Columbia. So we're looking forward to that.
No, there's lots of. You mentioned about the Speyside Whisky Festival at the Feshiel as well to look forward to. The Isla Festival, the Speyside Festival. I was doing a tasting at Bon Accord last week.
Fantastic bar.
And Thomas was talking about that was his first participation in the Glasgow Whisky Festival at Hampden. So they'd opened up another room, and it's really, really popular. And that I'll try and make a point of going to that this year.
No, for sure. I mean, I think there's so many great whiskey festivals on. Everybody should try and get to one and push your boundaries of what you want to taste and enjoy. So yeah, it's what we do. It's great.
Now,
if we look a little bit at Ian McLeod this year, there's a lot going on from our perspective, isn't there?
There is, as I say, the big news. I think it will be one of the big whiskey news stories of the year. Will be the opening up of Rosebank.
Oh, I thought it was the fact you'd grown an inch over Christmas.
I'd given up drinking. No, it will be the opening of Rosebank. That will be a massive story.
It will be. That's going to be in the summer. The distillery is producing, as we know, producing a lovely new make spirit, I have to say, which is great. And it is producing, but it'll be open to the public, I think, in the sort of June, July time. June, I hope, which is great. And that's going to be a huge, I think there'll be a lot of demand for people to come and see it. It's stunning. It's amazing. It will be a great experience.
It will be great. And, sometimes you when somebody gives you something to drink, you think, I hope it's going to be good. I don't want to lie. Coming up, you'll hear Susan Morrison from the Scottish Whisky Experience. It was the same thought I had when she said, come down and see the new experience. I thought, hope it's good. I don't want to lie.
It's very good.
Fantastic.
It is very good.
Malcolm gave me a drop of the new make spirit of Rosebank, and I was like, this is going to be good. It wasn't just good. It was absolutely fantastic.
It was stunning.
It's stunning. I don't know. He's like there's a bit of magic going on, how you can produce flavors from a bit of some barley and some water.
Look, I know we're talking to Lochlea later. Obviously, Malcolm was there at Lochlea for the startup of Lochlea. Loving what Lochlea have done. John Campbell doing a great job, and the team there. But Malcolm then came to Rosebank, and he's worked his magic again, I think, with the help of Jason and the team there. I think they've produced a really good new make spirit. So hey, we're not going to see a whiskey in there for we're not going to see a whiskey for a while. But when you do get it, I'm sure it'll be utterly fabulous.
And we'll do a special. So we'll definitely get along there, and we'll do a whiskey unscripted from Rosebank nearer the time. They're quite nice to do that. Gordon, another piece of news is I'm quite a big fan of the Whisky magazine.
Yes, I used to work for it. I mean, that's its success was built on my shoulders.
Did you? Were you episode 1, season 1? They're now 25 years old, and I've got
that's
the 25th anniversary edition. And the reason I say this because two things that intersect literally what we were talking about yesterday. Where we're at the archives of Ian McLeod's, and you picked up the induction picture or poster of Peter Russell for the Whisky magazine, didn't you? And
that's right.
I literally
Hall of Fame. And
I flicked through the magazine, and they've got all the Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah, I think there's about 80-ish.
Yep. And it just looked in the first page with Peter Russell. So I thought that was very coincidental. So lovely magazine.
Yeah, approaching the first anniversary of his passing, unfortunately. But a man who absolutely set Ian McLeod on the journey it's on now, with a distillery in India, pretty close to completion, Rosebank producing. It's an amazing evolution. So very, very well deserved for Peter Russell.
It was. And they taste 25-year-old whiskies in there, which is lovely.
Is there any of ours in there?
Oh, yeah, Glengoyne 25. Thank you very much, sir.
Belter.
It's just absolute that molasses, lovely, rich toffee treacle. I'll get some lovely ones in there.
And
25, Gordon, is that a great age for a whiskey?
No. It's no better than any other age. It depends on the cask you use. I mean, a lot of people say, whiskies at 18 are perfect. depends on the cask type, the refill element, if there is any. You know, you can make a whiskey very overpowered by the cask at 18 years old for sure. You can make a whiskey underpowered by the cask. It depends on so many different things. But if you look at Glengoyne 25 in the context of 25-year-olds, the one thing that I love about it is that we have decided to bottle at 48%. And that is what makes Glengoyne 25, I believe, and I would say this on a podcast by Ian MacLeod Distillers, but I'm going to say it anyway, one of the best 25-year-old sherry cask 25s you can possibly lay your hands on. And what does it say about it in Whiskey Magazine?
Bethany, a solid single malt, nice characteristics of its aging. And Christopher, an indulgent, correct, complex and dignified older dram. So
a bit like us.
But listen, there's lots of lovely ones
dignified.
There. Glenfarclas is in there.
Yep.
Glenturret as well, and a Balvenie, I think it is. But they're just beautiful, beautiful whiskies. So I thought that was worth a little mention.
No, absolutely. Yeah, totally. So no, congratulations and happy birthday anniversary to Whiskey Magazine. They have really blazed a trail through the industry over 25 years. I did have the pleasure of working for them for about seven years, unbelievably.
Yeah.
And nice people there. Big fans of what we do, fans of what they do.
Oh, good. Well, coming up, Gordon, are you up for the Mystery Distillery? I'm going to call
Always.
the section Mystillery. It's not
right.
clever.
Okay.
Not
No, I love
funny.
that. I love that. Well, hold on, Gordon. What are you drinking?
We discussed this.
We did
We don't
discuss
plan very much, but what we're drinking is up there. And I said I would like to start 2024 with a dram that's quite special to me, and this is the Glengoyne 6-year-old. Coming in. It's not available in the shop, so I do apologize for drinking something.
This is your special whiskey, isn't it?
It's a special whiskey. This is the whiskey I asked when we do the storytelling tour at Glengoyne.
Yeah,
I do a non-process tour where I'd love anybody listening to this to come along. Starts round about April when the weather's half decent, and we walk around outside of the distillery, and you have a dram, and we salute the 5 owners or the 5 leaseholders that have held on to Glengoyne.
Can I just say you're not talking up enough? This is utterly fabulous, this tour, because you do not see a still, you do not see any barley, you do not see any of the production elements. A lot of people know how whiskey's made. They want a different experience at a distillery. This is it. This is all about the stories of the distillery, delivered in a unique way by Gordon, obviously helped along with some drams because, after about an hour and a half, you need a few if you've been listening to Gordon. But ultimately, it's a fabulous experience. It is a brilliant way to spend a couple of hours in the afternoon during the summer, wandering around a beautiful distillery like Glengoyne, learning about everything from the legal distillery being in place from Burnfoot Farm in 1833 to the sustainability elements that we use now, a whole range of aspects, really, really interesting. Come and do it. I have done it twice with Gordon. It's fabulous. Book it. Come and see it. It's great.
That's fantastic, Gordon. And it sort of fits in with what Susan mentions in the interview, Susan Morrison.
Yes.
I've mentioned already about the experiential side of the business and how important that is. And this is the second dram. I asked Robbie Hughes, who's now our group distillery manager, to give me a whiskey. We have a taste of the new make that was smuggled before legalization in the pouches, taken to Glasgow and then made into a punch or a toddy. That's the first taste. And then the whiskey evolves round about the early 19th century. We're not exactly sure when maturation as a science, if you want to call it, comes in, but certainly transatlantic shipping in the 1780s, 1790s, early 1800s, the knowledge of maturation is kicking in. And I just wanted to get a whiskey that the wood was just beginning to have a bite and an influence on the new make spirit. And Robbie gave me a refill bourbon hogshead. 6 years old.
Now, what you're going to get in there is you're going to get lots of that new make spirit, that fruitiness that we talk about. That, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. The slowness of distillation is a key part for Glengoyne. And people ask, well, why is it so important? It's ultimately because of the enjoyment and the way that you want to relate to the whiskey, 10, 12, 15, 25 years later. And I think, we're all about delivering an experience that makes people happy, makes them joyful. And I think that's what Glengoyne wants to try and do, isn't it?
It is. As you see, it's in that bottle. You can't help smiling.
No.
He knows that, because it's just that you're starting to get the balance between the spirit and the wood. And that's what's quite important, to go from clear to now it's beginning to really start to have an influence on the spirit. So that's my dram, 60.2 or something ABV, the whiskey. I'll be having my first dram of that. What are you drinking, Gordon?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm drinking. It's a cold day. It's been cold in Scotland this week. I'm, I thought, well, if there's one place I'm harping after, and obviously with Lagan Bay and places like that, I thought I need to go to Islay. I'm going to Islay. And I thought, what am I going to drink if I'm going to Islay? And I've actually laid my hands on a Lagavulin. Lagavulin 16. A classic. And I'm having a little sip of that.
Yes.
I think it's I think there's certain whiskies from Islay that are iconic. Ardbeg 10, Lefroy 10, Lagavulin 16. They're three probably of the most iconic whiskies from Islay. I mean, obviously Bruichladdich and all the others make great whiskey, but I think Lagavulin is, and their 16 is timeless. It's brilliant whiskey. I'm having a little sip of that.
And if you want to, we did a podcast on Islay, so you can go back there and have a listen. That was a great episode when we were across the Islay.
It was a great episode, yeah.
So listen, both of us have got a whiskey in our hands. This is not a Christmas episode, is it, Gordon?
No. It's definitely not a Christmas episode. I've got a mince pie though as well.
There's hardly any mention of Christmas coming up in these interviews that was filmed or recorded 2 weeks before Christmas, 2.5. So they do actually mention.
So where were you? Were in Switzerland, and you went and talked to a whole load of people.
It was a wonderful exhibition that was in Baden.
Wonderful. Let's go to Switzerland.
Okay, let's go and see who we can get. Jamie from Glenturret. Could you wish our listeners happy Christmas and tell us how it's been in Switzerland?
Absolutely, Gordon. So happy Christmas, everybody who's listening. The event's been good fun. We've had some interesting conversations about Glenturret. People seem to be enjoying what we're doing, so we can't ask for much more, really.
And what's Jamie doing at Christmas?
I'm going over to India, actually, on next week. Spend Christmas in Kerala this year, so nice and warm. Should be fun.
That's brilliant. Christmas on the beach. Almost.
Absolutely.
And here we have, what's your name, sir?
Patrick Dupuy. Lochlea Distillery.
Lochlea, yes. Our very good friend Malcolm Rennie of Rosebank Distillery fame.
Yes, of course. Yes, he's on your team now.
Yeah, he was on your team before.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Lochlea, give us a quick update. What's happening?
Yeah, no, it's been a good year. First full year in the market. We started selling last year, so we've learned a lot. We've hopefully generated a lot of new fans, and it's been a fun year. Kind of learning a wee bit more about the spirit, watching it mature, and bringing it out into the good people of the world.
And we had to go to do in a bar over Christmas, and there was a Lochlea on the gantry. What would you suggest?
The cast strength batch 1 is my favourite, and I've been recommending that to people all weekend here in Switzerland. It's been selling well, which is good. I think our spirit works really well at this stage at cast strength, so it's definitely one to try if you get a chance to spot it over the holiday period. Yeah, give it a go.
Right, then this is a question out of the left of field. True or false? We're going to play the Christmas true or false game.
Okay.
True or false? Last night you told us about a story about a ferret in a Glasgow close. True or false?
True. I'd like to caveat that with it was an animal ferret and not any other kind.
Right. Okay. So that's we don't need to go any further. I just wonder if I was dreaming or not.
No, that's true.
Well, thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Some Christmas cheer from yourself, sir. What's your name? What's the company?
Rich from Penderyn Distillery.
Oh, lovely, Rich.
So, from Wales. So, Nadoli Clawan to you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Now, I asked you, how's the second distillery?
How's the second distillery? So, that's where I'm based in Llandudno. So, it's going pretty well. We've been open since the 17th of May 2021. So, we're just come over to 2 years, just over the 2 year mark. So we're making a peated spirit up there.
Yes.
So it should be ready in another year, 2 years, depending on how it's going. All depends on Easter down in Penderyn to see how it's going to go. But
And how is Penderyn? How's it been today?
it's been busy. We've been showcasing obviously some of the whiskies, the single cask just for Switzerland, and we've got our new icon of Wales, the Patagonia, which has gone really well, been well received. Met some new friends, the guys from Glenturret, Lochlea, yourself.
Yes.
So it's been a
And can we come down and visit Penderyn House? And
come to
new
all three distilleries, because obviously we just opened another one last month in Swansea, so in the Copperworks distillery.
What's
down
that called?
south. The Copperworks in Penderyn, in the Copperworks in Swansea.
Right.
Brand new distillery.
What a success story that has
Going
been.
good. It's going good. Yeah.
We talked about in the last episode about taking gambles, and those distilleries like the ones in the in England, the Cotswolds, and even Penderyn. These were outliers. People, taking a gamble before it all kicked.
Before it all went
Big.
crazy like it is now.
Yeah.
But Penderyn's pretty well established now. 23 years we've been going for. Pretty well known. We've been well received today. Surprising how many people in Switzerland would come up to me. Oh, got Penderyn at home. So yeah, no, it's been good.
Right, nice. Have a nice Christmas.
Take it easy.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just eavesdropping. Gordon Dallas from Ian MacLeod Distillers. We're doing a podcast, a Christmas special.
Oh, great.
It's out all around the world. Guys, how have you enjoyed the fair?
It's been fantastic. I've tried whiskies that are not Scotch.
There's nothing
I've
wrong
tried
with that.
Irish, I've
Yeah.
tried Japanese, I've tried New Zealand, this is not whiskey, but
That's
it is
right.
in Scotland.
But it will be soon.
And it's fantastic.
Oh, you have nice
It's
track record,
exceeded my expectations. I really enjoyed it. I've tried Barra Gin, which is made with greenery gathered from the beaches, and it has this marvelous seaside flavour. It's not
Wonderful.
It's just amazing. I really love it.
And you from Switzerland?
That's a difficult question.
Okay, I was just going to ask what a Swiss Christmas was like. This is the Christmas special. So, will you have a nice dram at Christmas? What would you have?
If I had my pick.
Yes? I've got a whiskey. Duncan Taylor get a whispered over across there.
This is quite nice.
That's quite nice. Well, listen, can we very quickly speak to the Barra Distillery? What's your name?
Hello, I'm Debbie McMillan and I'm the Business Performance Manager for Isle of Barra Distillers.
Isle of Barra Distiller. So you've got gin there. This is Whisky Unscripted. We'll let you off
We do.
with the gin.
We
But
are the only exception of this festival. So we're the only gin here, which is really special. We have whisky coming in the future, but we have to be very patient. So we are a matter of years off just yet, but we're showcasing our gin in Switzerland
So
at
it's
the moment.
amazing though, actually saying there's, the island is a category. It's getting, there's already the island distilleries out there, but now you've got Harris, now you get Barra, now all the old ones as well. So do you think it'll ever be a category in its own right?
Oh, I hope
Islands.
so, certainly, yeah. We're hoping to have the Hebridean Whisky Trail. We've got Harris, North Uist Distillery and us at Isle of Barra as well. So, yeah, we're creating a Hebridean Whisky Trail, which is really special. It will impact, obviously, the distilleries, but also the local communities too.
And what can we expect from the whisky?
Oh, so whiskey.
What's the chat?
Flavour profile wise?
Yes.
So still to be determined, of course, because we are still a wee while off. However, we can tell you that it will have influential input from the island itself. So, for example, the salt air, we're surrounded by the ocean. So, yeah, watch this space. There's going to be something special in there.
Oh, that's brilliant. So have a lovely Christmas. Have a lovely
Yes,
time.
you too.
Have a lovely dram at
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks for that. If I could just interrupt. Yep. We're appearing on a podcast. This man's an international star. Sir, what's your name? And what whiskies are you representing today?
I am Joe from Bear Brothers and Rudd, showing some of our exclusive Swiss single casks. Casks from Scotland. We've got some beautiful aged Speysides from stuff like Linkwood, like a really tropical melon juicy Linkwood.
You gave me a lovely one earlier on.
And we've got our 34-year-old secret Speyside from a distillery not quite known for berries in the town of Rothes. Can't tell you where it's from. Not Glenlivet. And then we've got some of our peated casks. One of the favourite ones we're showing today is like a Rudemore peated Glenturret, which is a 15-year-old beautiful puncheon, so sherry cask with a lot of wood, peat, which you just expect from Highlands. And sort of the show favourite, which I've been surprised at, is our Australian Starwood red wine finish.
Right.
Designed to be paired with food, but sort of
Lovely.
spicy.
And since this is the Christmas episode, what would you say is a good Christmas dram for anybody sitting round a table at Christmas night. Come on, this is the Christmas episode.
What we've got, this has to be, well, we have to kind of go, we're going to go away from France, controversially again. We've got our French single malt from Armoric, Brittany, on the Breton coast. It's spent the last 2 years of its 15 years in a port cask. And, you know, port and Christmas go hand in hand. Imagine juicy port fruit, marzipan, because, you know, what's Christmas cake without marzipan? And beautiful spices. If you pour that with your cheese at the end of the day, or with a slice of Christmas pudding, I think you would be in heaven.
So it's absolutely marvellous. And when we first met, I recognised you. You didn't recognise me. You don't know me. But I think you were in a whiskey magazine a few months ago.
I believe so. I still need to find this out.
I've got the magazine. I will. Listen, have a lovely Christmas.
I will do.
Joe,
You
when it
too.
comes.
Merry
Take care.
Christmas.
Thank you. We're back. Hey guys. So I've got. Christmas special.
Question.
Yeah.
For him.
Here we are.
No.
No. I was going to ask this man. Patrick, we're just pouring some whiskies. Patrick Lutz, of course, friend of the show, been on a few podcasts before. Where are we? What's going on? What is this festival? Could you explain it to our listeners?
Well, we've been here for the last 3 days, showing some of our great portfolio, amongst them all of the Iemeglat brands. 3-day festival in Baden, Switzerland. Open to the public to introduce them to the variations of different styles and flavor profiles you can find amongst the amazing Scottish whisky.
Amazing. It's a great festival. And has this been going long, this festival, Patrick?
The festival has been going for many years. It was first in Zurich and then moved a couple of years to Baden, which is now in an old industrial hall, which offers more space to the visitors to taste, discover, but also have a bit of space to get out of the way of each other.
Yeah. And this festival, it is Christmas. Give us a good dram or something. What would you suggest we could drink at Christmas night? Or this is Switzerland we're in. Even food, chocolates, whatever.
You go for everything you'd like. You can have an amazing cheese fondue, or you can have a nice raclette. Or then if you go to the whiskey when you are, if you really want to pamper yourself, I always suggest to take a Glengoyne 25-year-old, where you have Christmas plus in your glass, so you can skip the dessert.
That's lovely. Well,
Gordon,
thank you so
great
much.
having you here.
Great. And if anybody wants to know who Patrick is, go back a few episodes. Who's on it?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas to everybody, and to you as well, Gordon.
Thank you.
For being
Merry
with
Christmas.
us.
Thank you.
Oh, Gordon, that was
Beautiful.
That was great. I like to hear all these, at these festivals with these people. It's great fun. But can I just take you back to Debbie from Barra? I did ask Debbie. That's another distillery on an island that will be producing whiskey soon. Do you think it could become a category in its own right? There has been calls.
Well, some people think it is.
Yes.
Some people think it is a category. It isn't. Islands are part of the Highland region. No, yes, they are. Sorry.
Yes.
As is technically Speyside, really, but it's a sort of sub-region, sort of. Anyway.
Is this heading for a sub-region? And what are the distilleries out there on the islands now?
Well, let's take Islay out of it, which is a region.
Yes.
And this pertains very interestingly to one of our products called Six Isles, which is a blended malt. Now,
one of my favorites.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't ever be put off by the word blended. Blended malts, i.e. malts all in one bottle, is a great product. And if you get them from a particular style, which Six Isles is, from 6 different islands, then there's a reason to bring them together.
Yes. And as I say, I mentioned the Bonaccord tasting, Gordon.
Yes.
We did a rum finish. We do a rum finish with Six Isles, and that's one of the stars of the show.
So yes.
Six Isles.
Single malt people out there, any blended whiskey drinkers out there, you want a peaty sort of island maritime styled whiskey, Six Isles is absolutely for you. Great price, great product.
We've talked about this before. Skag, Jura, Islay, we'll take that out of the equation. Orkney, Arran and Mull, all in one bottle. Now we've got Barra, we've now got Harris as well. You were on an island last year. Which one was it?
I was in Tyree.
A micro distillery there.
There's a predominantly gin, but there's a distillery in Tyree. There's one on Hull next door. These are all pretty small distilleries, but ultimately they may be looking to produce whiskies. But let's sort of start in the south. You've got, if we're honest, you've got Arran, Aaron has a distillery on the north and the south side. Technically, Lag, I think, and I might be corrected, but I think technically Lag, which is their peated whiskey in the South Island, is actually in the Lowland region. But someone may correct me on that. Then we go over to Jura. So we go round the Mull of Kintyre, past Campbelltown, past Springbank and Glen Scotia, on to Jura, which is just the one distillery, Jura Distillery. I think Jura single malt's the biggest selling single malt in the UK now, something like that. So that's quite interesting. Let's go up a little bit further to the bigger islands. Let's just look at distilleries on Mull. Well, we've got Tobermory and Lecce obviously produced there as well.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, Tyree, the smaller distilleries. Then we go up to, Skye, obviously Talisker and Torrevig.
There's two, that's right.
We've got the Hirach, which was released last year from
Harris.
Harris. Sorry, yes, of course. Harris Gin, Harris. Not forgetting Highland Park and Scapa up on Orkney. I think there's a distillery on Shetland. So, I mean, there's quite a lot of island whiskey distilleries. There's probably even a few we've missed out. But
I'm making that double figures.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, I mean, the point is, and this is a little bit interesting, they're all different. All whiskies are different now. Regionality, and I'll debate this with anybody, is less important to call yourself I'd rather call myself a Barra single malt or rather than a island single malt. It's sort of putting me in a box that I'm not sure I want to be in.
Ah, right. Okay, so you think a subcategory of islands isn't an automatic, will not be a given, right?
No, I mean, there is a precedent for this. Because I think if you look at the new release from Inchderny, which is called Rylaw.
We talked about this in the last episode, I think.
Did I? Oh, well, it's quite a long time ago, so sorry.
Yeah, no, yes, you said had the word Fife on the label.
I think it has Fife. And, and I don't know how that, because Fife is technically lowland.
Now, I think I spoke to our friend Ronnie at Broxburn Bottlers at the Distillers Fair, and I think it's to do with where the word Fife comes in the label. It comes before.
Fife single grain Scotch whisky is what it says.
It comes before the actual. If it came after, if it was single grain or some, there's something in about the labeling, and I do apologise.
Anyway, in a general sense, and I was speaking to this about people who merchandise. I went to a whiskey conference, and people who merchandise whiskey, and people still do it alphabetically, which some people do it regionally, which I'm a bit like, no, don't do it regionally. Just do it by style, really, potentially. What is the best way to merchandise whiskey?
That is a good
so I personally, I don't think we need an island category. I don't think it's relevant. There's no history to it well, there is, but there's no history to it with get out there, shout about what's great about Barra and talk about all the things that makes your whiskey different to Harris, to Mull, to whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. And maybe part of a category means you have a festival. Like Speyside, it's a category, it's got a festival. Campbelltown, it's a region, it's got a festival. Isla. Now,
you need a boat to go on an island.
Yeah, boat, it could be quite dangerous jumping island to island after all that whiskey.
You need a boat.
There'd be an issue there putting a festival on. But really, is there and we'll have to get to the bottom of it, the Highland Festival. I know it's
such a big region. The geographical aspect of it would be hard.
Yeah. But I thought the Thompson brothers, I know there's a Dornoch Whisky Festival, and I thought that was going to become the Highland Whisky Festival. So I don't know as much about it. I know there's a National Whisky Festival at Inverness and in Glasgow. I wonder if that was part of that Highland. It doesn't say it on the label. So I don't know. Highland Whisky Festival. Maybe investigate that for the next episode. Is it such
I mean, you could have a distillery from a distillery from Wick. So you could have someone like Old Pulteney and Glengoyne in the same festival, and there's only 250 miles between them, and they taste diametrically opposite, pretty much, nearly. So, I think the Highland region's so geographically split and taste split that it's probably the least relevant, but then you've got the lowlands as well. They're not all similar. There is divergence happening. So, you know, I think it's interesting.
Best festivals, Speyside and Isla. It really is. And I think Campbellton's, I'd love to get down there.
Campbellton. I want to go to Campbellton Whisky Festival.
Yes.
Because I would, and it's a region where there's a lot of investment now. So, you know, it's very exciting.
Yes. Well, talking about exciting, how would you like to play the first game of the season?
Love a game.
It's just a mystery distillery. We're going to call this game Mystillery.
Mystillery.
Just name the distillery, Gordon. One of the 3 Brown-Forman distilleries in Scotland.
Right. Well, that's pretty easy.
It starts in 1826. Charles Grant buys it for £9,000 in 1920.
Glendronach.
William Teacher buys the distillery in 1960. Allied Breweries, 1976. Mothballed, 1996. Reopened, 2002. Pernod Ricard then sells it to the owners of Ben Rear. It is indeed Glendronach.
Another beautiful sherry cask whiskey.
Yes.
I think I love Glendronach. I have to say, I think it's a nice whiskey. I think I love my sherry cask. I love Tamdhu, obviously, and Glengoyne, but Glendronach's a cracking dram.
Just my final clue was Alan McConaughey. 15 years
no, Alan Well, yes.
as the distillery manager.
And Stuart Buchanan as ambassador, always good.
Yes, well, I'm
Very
hoping,
good.
I'm hoping Stuart will be on the good ship Cinderella this year for another.
Oh, yes, off to
midnight
Sweden
interview.
you are.
So
Very
that's the distillery. Gordon, speaking of distilleries, we've got another interview coming up, and it's not a distillery, but it's a place that bangs the drum on behalf of distilleries. You know it very well.
I think it's technically owned by a lot of them.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
To the Scottish Whisky Experience. Now, we've had a couple of interviews. I think we did a memorable episode from the Scottish Whisky Experience.
Yep.
Top of the Royal Mile in the capital city of Scotland.
We did.
In Edinburgh.
We did.
And at New Year, for 2 days, they do a distiller's fair, where as a free bonus, if you go on tour, you get taken to the 4th floor, and there's a room full of us with a few drams. That's right. But when I got there early, Susan said, do you want to come down and see the new experience? Now, you had been
I have been about a week before.
Yeah.
So let's just, if you've not been, they had this ride, I think the way would be to describe it. You sat in a barrel and you went round and learned about whiskey. I think it technically run its course in terms of the experience and far less the mechanicals, I hear.
Yeah.
So they changed it. They spent a lot of money changing it, and they brought in this great new experience, which I think talks about whiskey in a really great way.
Well, here's Susan. Now, Susan Morrison of the Scottish Whisky Experience.
Yes.
We had, could you explain, and I probably have already, what just happened today?
Well, today was our annual Distillers Fair. We run it on the 29th and 30th December every year, and it's well attended by all our members, our shareholders and stakeholders. And so we've had public doing our silver tour, and then for free they're coming up and getting to meet the makers.
It is amazing. And you know what is even more amazing? And I know we've not got very much time. You took me down to see the new experience.
It's exciting.
Could you tell us very quickly what the old experience was and what's changed?
So the old experience was our old car ride, and we've had a car ride for over 35 years now in one iteration or another. So for the first time ever, the car ride's gone, and we've got 3 new exciting spaces that deliver production to you.
Can I just say, you put me on it, and I kind of think, I hope it's going to be good, and it was I don't want to say too much. I think you've got to come and experience it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's an experience. It's so immersive. It's projections on the floor, on the sides, the top, and I mean, it couldn't have been cheap.
It wasn't cheap.
No.
We invested £3.5 million in these 3 spaces.
It absolutely shows it. It really shows it. And what people like is just enough depth of knowledge without being too.
Yeah,
I just think you've just got
for our consumer, it needs to be entertaining.
Yeah.
So in order to get them interested in whiskey, it has to be fun, exciting, and they walk away with a few really great facts that they'll be able to tell people.
And I don't want to say too much, but the third room.
Yeah, it's my favourite.
It's almost jaw-dropping,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's my favourite.
Just tease it. You're inside
inside a
You're
cask.
inside a cask, and you see the magic that happens there.
Yeah. I'm allowed to say you had to do it to the board of the directors here. And there's one very famous gentleman that said
Absolutely.
it was one of the best.
Best explanation of maturation he's seen in that short space of time ever.
And that was the Nose Patterson.
It was absolutely the Nose Patterson.
Which
So
to me that is
couldn't
just
get higher.
You couldn't get higher praise than that. It's unbelievable. Susan, it's anybody listening to this podcast, you have to come and see this.
Oh, absolutely. You do have to do it to appreciate, everything that's gone into creating this space.
It just takes things to the next level,
Yeah.
I think, as an experience of how you make it. And you're doing one more day here at the Distillers
One more
Fair?
day, the Distillers Fair. Tomorrow we have some more distillers. We've got about 12 distillers tomorrow coming to dram their wares. So hopefully another very busy day for us.
And this final one is the New Year's show 2024. What's the Scottish Whisky Experience? What's the game plan?
What's the game plan? Oh, we've got projects backing up now.
Oh.
so can't say too much, but there'll be more happening.
Great, so get yourself along here. Susan, thank you so much for bringing us along today and showing me that
you.
wonderful experience.
Thanks,
Right,
Gordon.
let's get back into it.
Okay.
Cheers, thank you.
I mean, she took 3.5 million, and you can tell. You can just tell it's
Oh, it's beautiful. No, it's a great experience, and it's on the Royal Mile, just right beside the castle, so it's always busy. Great shop in there as well. One of the biggest selections of whiskies. Plenty of Ian McLeod products in there as well. But no, it's a great experience, and Susan and Julie and the team there have done a great job over the years. Very consistent, delivering a great experience about the whole category of whiskey. Johnny Walker, brilliant. Does what it does for Johnny Walker. Great experience. This is a very different thing. You could do both of them in one day and you'd come away going, what two great whiskey experiences they are.
Yes. And hopefully this year, if you want to go to the dark side, the gin distillery will just be down the hill at the Royal Mile.
And you can go to the
gin open up.
Yeah, we've got Edinburgh Gin on the dark side opening hopefully about August, and by then obviously the best whiskey experience will be open. Obviously Rosebank. Just saying that, but it will be a great whiskey experience. There's plenty to do in the Central Belt for whiskey and gin.
I know. The only thing, as a person that comes from Glasgow, is I'd like to see some of these lovely experiences in Glasgow as well.
Glengoyne.
Yes. Come to Glengoyne.
Glengoyne.
Tour. I'm having a wee drama with my Glengoyne 6-year-old.
And to be fair, Glengoyne, yes. We were in Clydeside as well this year. Or last year. Brilliant experience, great day. Thanks to them, Clydeside Distillery. Go and do Clydeside in the morning, come to Glengoyne in the afternoon.
Perfect. Gordon, just before we're about to go, what you up to in 2024? Anything you'd like to see or do? And I'll kick it off. Speaking to Joe there, we heard them at Berry Brothers and Rudd. I've never been to Berry Brothers and Rudd. Just for historical purposes, that goes right back to the 18th century. I would love to go down to see Berry Brothers. And also, this year, I wouldn't mind seeing the Cairn, Gordon MacPhail's new distillery, and maybe going to their warehouses in Elgin to see what they have in those warehouses. So
they have some interesting stuff.
It might never happen.
No, for sure. I'd like to go see the Cairn. I'm going to stop by one time when I'm actually on the way up to Tamdhu. It's a visually stunning distillery, so I'm really keen to see more about that. So I agree with you on that. I'm interested to, I think we'll be at the Spirit of Space side this year, which I'm really looking forward to. You'll be there as well.
That's early May.
That's the first week of May.
Yeah.
1st to the 6th or something like that. And also, I think, as I said, I'll one of the other things this year, we've got quite a lot of new products coming out. So we've got quite a lot of new Glengoynes coming out. We've got some Tamdhus. We don't have any Rosebank. Well, we do have. That's a lie. We will have the new global release of Rosebank. That's the 3rd edition and the final one of the first series. So we've got a lot of new products coming out, which means we have to do a lot of work to talk about them, get them out there. So it's going to be a very busy year. New season.
Get the
New
music
year.
On.
Here we go.
It's a go. Season 8 is underway.
Yes.
Goodbye.
In good company, doing it this way since 1833, staying ahead on the whiskey trail. Oh, staying ahead on the whiskey trail.